Okay. James Shannon,
Dara Mac.
welcome to the Dara Mac podcast.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me, man.
So,
Respect.
what's the story? Tell us this. It's actually a question I've never asked you.
Go on.
Why did you start rapping?
Why did I start rapping?
The way I've said it sounds like I'm insulting. Why did you start rapping?
Why would you, of all people? I hate this question. It's a stupid way. The way I started rapping is really stupid. I think I was about 14 and I was just like, I got out of this, the typical 14-year-old gamer phase, and I was doing nothing, but I was listening to a lot of rap music, like a lot of it. So I think I was just like one day, like, man, I want to do this, like, because I knew at the time Irish rap was a thing, but it wasn't like a big thing. There was lads doing it, but it wasn't as big as it is now. Like, there wasn't that variety. It was kind of just like a select group of people who all knew each other. It was almost like a community kind of thing. And I was like, I want to give this a bash because I enjoy the music. Like, I feel like I could do this. So I just started writing tunes. And I think I was still 14. And I remember I recorded my first song. It was like me sitting in my kitchen at the family computer with my iPhone 4 and a stack of DVDs. And I played a beat in the background. I'd record it on the iPhone 4, then convert it onto the computer and shape it up in this like I think it was Movie Maker I was doing it in. Yeah. But I basically started it just because like I enjoyed the music and I knew that Irish people were doing it since I was maybe 11, and I just wanted to give it a bash, like to see like what I could do, what hand I could deal, to give them a go. But obviously now it's a much bigger thing and it's easier for people to get involved in it. Definitely when I started, it wasn't as big. People didn't respect it as much.
Who was about back then?
Who was a bit like back then?
Pat Flynn.
Pat Flynn would have been starting out with Lynchy.
Lynchy.
Not for me. The Class A's were a big thing then. Obviously, the boys, a bunch of boys from Finglas, such as Costello, and all those boys, they were around as well. I would have listened to a lot of them. They would have kind of inspired me to start out then. But Reggie Snow would have been around, but I wouldn't have known much about him. He was more international, if you get me. But Jambo's another big one. Jambo was a huge one for me at the start.
Okay.
And they would have been the main ones at the start, kind of. But definitely, it's much easier to get into it now, and a lot of people are doing it, which is great because, obviously, it's going a bit more worldwide now, which is good.
So it's mainly for what that you started? What was the
aim of starting? Well, obviously when I started, the aim was like, oh my god, I'm gonna be like a rapper, like I thought I was gonna be like big shit, but it's taken a while for that, hasn't it? Yeah. It was something to do, obviously when I first started, it was like, oh, I want to get a bit of a buzz from this, but then you do it, you keep doing it, and that buzz doesn't come at first, but you develop an addiction for it, and it's a form of self-expression. Like, it's a bit of a cliche, like, I do it to express my feelings, but that's what it is, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's almost like a sanctuary to be able to write what I'm doing. Obviously then everything I wrote was coming out. It's a bit different now, but at the time it was mainly just for the love of it. Like, it was because I just loved doing it. Loved writing, loved recording. Just loved making music, and I have since a young age. But I didn't know I wanted to make rap music until I hit maybe like 14. Okay. And then the motivation was there, and it just carried till now.
Who would have been like major inspiration? At
the start, major inspiration is like, it's so like, again, more cliches. It would have been a lot of Eminem, a lot of Biggie Smalls, Tupac. But now, you grow up and you take inspirations from different forms of music as well.
Who's it now?
Now, I don't know. I'm not listening to much rap now, I have to say.
No?
No, not really. I'm listening to
trad.
Yeah, trad. But, I know you have to rate the Pogues and all them. Rate that.
Pogues, okay.
At the moment, I'm listening to a lot of jazz. Ray Charles. Listening to a lot of indie music. I don't even know some of the bands. Like, I'll just have these like indie songs on my playlist and I'll just listen to those. Frank Ocean, the man, that big man. But that's the main stuff at the moment. But it varies.
Joji.
Joji's the man. He's the man. He's always there. Sanctuary and all those songs are always definitely on the playlist.
Basically, I was looking to get into rap videos. In the Gaeltacht, you basically only have what your Cúntóir plays on their phone, if they play on their phone.
Yeah.
What your Cúntóir plays on their phone, and basically ours had like an absolute masterpiece of a rap playlist with like XXX Tentacion and all this stuff.
All the lads.
But I'd never heard that stuff before. I'd always kind of like gone around rap. Juice WRLD was massive. That was the
big thing.
Lucid Dreams came out around then.
This was 2017, 2018? 2018 around then, yeah.
And then like after that I was like, oh shit, like I've got to like transition into doing music videos after seeing what Cole Bennett was at. And I looked at others as well, Brother and shit. And then like I hit you up and I said like, oh yeah man, like your stuff's good. Your stuff's good.
I was flattered.
Like for anyone who's looking to get into like videos, if you want to do it, then you're going to probably have to go out and ask someone to let you do a music video, let you do a film, whatever. And you're probably going to have to do a lot of free jobs as well.
Yeah, the first one he did was free. That was a good one now.
Yeah.
See, I was just happy to have someone hit me up to do a video because, like, and then I think I watched the Vape on Tape one, of course. You know, Irish rapper propaganda there, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this shit's good, like, you know. And then we did Back on Track. What was the feed? Explain what the feedback was like for Back on Track. Wasn't too good, very rushed, you know.
I will say, like, I still have like nostalgia for Back on Track. I still look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I still like it. You know what I mean? It was fun.
It's acceptable, I would say.
Yeah,
I described it as acceptable. It's a bit dirty looking.
Yeah, no, but like for the tune as well. Like I don't like the tune is good. It's definitely like for me, it's like that was a good like. I enjoyed making it, but like I couldn't listen to it much. Like, you know what I mean? It's definitely not one of my proudest works, but you know, but it basically worked, you know.
Out where I'm from, like around Athlone and Ballinasloe,
the lads did not fuck with it.
The lads did not enjoy.
They didn't enjoy seeing that.
James Shannon.
I thought that was
lyrical prose. And how did your group respond to Back on Track?
See, like I feel like it was the first time I'd actually worked like on a video outside of my own doing, kind of like my first time working with someone on a video. So the response from my end was actually, it was good because it was something different for me. But then like when you look back on it now, like it's kind of like, all right, it wasn't like, you know, up there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the time it was something different, and the feedback was good because it was a step above, because like even for the song, like before then I wasn't really getting shit mixed and all properly. I wasn't like, you know, getting it produced and all, but I remember that was the first one I actually produced myself as well. So I produced the beat, got my mate Zach Higgins to do the mixing and that. He's a legend. But and then got the video done like professionally, and then, you know, professionally enough, like, you know, in the eyes of the public it was professional because it was something other than my stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it was good. But then we've moved on. We've moved on since then.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, you weren't doing too bad with All the Way. All the Way was a good video.
All the Way, yeah. See, like, yeah, I remember the song for that. It was the last one I had written for an EP I made that time called The Bunny's Time. That was like the best one I did on that. And then the video, I remembered. I was just, like I just wanted to do something with that kind of VHS style, if you get me. So I just literally just filmed it over the course of like, I think a week or two, and threw the VHS effect on it in this like shitty free editing software, and put it up. And people enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it, like it was grand, like, but you can't overdo the VHS thing, of course, like, you know what I mean? You can't overdo it.
Yeah, it gets kind of
it's just overdone
for a little while.
Yeah, it does for sure, you know.
I think soon after that, I think while I was like making like Kid V 24, you wanted to meet and show me Last Bus. That's how like that's how early you were working on that.
Yeah, no, I think it was a shitty demo I had of that, man. I was like, man, you got to hear this song, because I knew then that we were going to do a video for that. Like I remember I made it and I was like, we're going to do a video for this. I brought it to you and we listened to it, and that was in the very early stages, and then banged it out, like, you know what I mean? It was fucking I enjoyed Last Bus. I enjoyed making it, you know, and it was a long process, I think.
How long did it take you to come up with it?
For Last Bus?
Yeah.
I remember a producer on mates with, his name's Mason. He's fucking class as well. So if you're looking for beats, get in contact with him. He's a legend. He sent me a clip of the beat, and there was someone else doing kind of a verse, like a chorus on it, and it had the same kind of, what's the cry, like had nearly the same rhythm, and I heard it, and I heard that piano, and I said, like, all right, I need to get on that. Can you send me that? Because the other person like just didn't want it. So I got it, and I had like kind of a vague kind of idea of the chorus I wanted to do, and I remember I wrote something else. I wrote a full song on it, and I think the song was called like Drifting or something. And I was sat down on the couch and I was like, I can't do another one of these songs, because up till then people have been telling me that a lot of the songs I was doing were like almost the same. So I said, no, this isn't going to slide. This beat is too special, and I need to do something different. I need to break out of this cycle. So for a while I knew I wanted to make a song that was called Last Bus, because that just was a really cool name for a song for me. I also wanted to do a song about the decline of nightlife in Dublin. So I just remember I sat down, I was just clean sheet, wanted to do the song again, and it just played it, and I just came up with what's the crack, nothing much, you've missed the last bus, and put that down as the chorus. And then I just started writing the verses, and it just came from there, and I was buzzing, you know. I was chuffed, you know.
I'd nearly say that coming up with the title first is not a great approach.
No, but like you know, did work there. It worked good enough, you know.
Yeah.
It was all right, like, you know.
Yeah.
But normally, you wouldn't come up with the title first, like, you know what I mean. Normally, you wouldn't.
For Last Bus, I think most of the idea for the video came from you.
Oh yeah, it was. But
for me, it was trying to bring across like that mood from the song, really atmospheric. And that's what I was trying to come up with, like the mood of like the nighttime or whatever. But
yeah, as well with the 24 video for Kid V, like that was like the story for that was insane. That was impeccable.
It would have been even better on the day we came to film it, and basically one of Kid V's album arts has him like with this bag.
I remember that. Yeah,
got on this bag. It's like a bag that a robber in a cartoon would have, and it has like a euro sign on it. And the plan was that we would go and have like one of those, and he'd be running away from a guard with that, and it'd be like, you know, he's running away after successfully making money at music or whatever the metaphor was, I don't know. But basically what happened on the day was I forgot the bag that we were going to use, and it was going to be absolutely perfect in my head. But
in a way I feel like the bag is like it worked, because like he's had that, like that intro to that video, like that was so good.
I still think the intro is probably like one of the best bits of it. I kind of lost track of it as like Kid V starts like rapping.
Yeah, no, I feel that way.
It's kind of hard to manage like the pace of like a music video in terms of like time of day. That's what I was trying to do. Like it goes from day to night, and that way like the person can follow it like really easily. Person who's watching. How do you approach music generally? Do you come up with an idea first, or like do you sit down and write with something in mind, or do you come up with a rhythm first? Or
I'd say normally the beat would come first, because let's say like a producer would send you a beat, like, you know, sometimes you'll get a song idea and you'll say, can I get something like this, yeah, but normally you'll get the beat first, you'll listen to it, and then you'll work off the vibe you get. For me, I'll like kind of listen to it and I'll be like, all right, this is the vibe I'm getting for it, and I'll have a vague idea, and then I'll kind of come up with a chorus or something first. And it'll take like, you know, sometimes it comes straight away, sometimes like it takes me like maybe up to months like to write a song to be perfectly cool with it, because I'll record it and go back, write something new, re-record it, and that's like, they're the ones you really want to be like, I need this to be a good one. And sometimes you just write something, you're like, yeah, like I fuck with that now, like that really does work, and I'm really cool with that. But that's the process, like you just kind of, most of the time I go into it having an idea of what I want to write about, like, you know, most of the time.
Okay.
Because over time, like, you'll kind of come up with new ideas. Like, you'll have for me, I have like kind of a page in my phone where I write all these ideas, and then I kind of work off those. Sometimes I'm like, all right, I know I want to do this, and this suits this.
Irrepressible. What's the story of that?
What's the story? No story.
No story.
I mean,
cruising like this. James Shannon about to come on ripping this shit. Open up my mind, let my thoughts below. Spark up a joint, let's unwind, chill out.
Same thing. Mason sent me a beat, and sent me 2 beats, and that was one of them. And the other one, I wasn't feeling as much, but that one, I was like, yeah, I can work with this one. So basically, was stressing because I knew I needed to put out something, like, you know. So I just kind of wrote it, got an idea for the flow and all of it, recorded it. I remember sent back to him, and he sent it back to me finished. So I remember I put it out. And everyone was like, oh my God, it's so good. And I was like, how? Like, how is it good? Like, you know, people, like, although it was a small group of people really liked it. And I didn't understand why. but I like, you know, it's obvious why, because it's trap drums and like a hype song. But like, you know, for me personally, it's like it feels very forced. But yeah, definitely moving away from that type of stuff.
But what direction do you see yourself going in near future?
Near future, don't want to talk too much about that. Okay. But I will say,
talk to me about like mood and genre in terms of like future.
Mood would be a bit more melancholic to sad, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
You like, you know, anyone who'd know my music and knows the good songs, always my best songs are always sad songs. Like they're always not like hype, like, you know, party songs. They always have like a bit more of a kind of a lower mood, if you get me. Like, so like it'd be a bit of that. And in terms of genre, you said, so genre would obviously be, you know, it'd be like rap, but like there's a bit more jazz coming into a bit more R&B type stuff. I don't know, I suppose the stuff I'm working on at the moment, the music is a bit more laid back than what I might have done before. It's not as like kind of like hard hitting like drums and shit like that. It's more laid back. There's a lot more kind of melody and stuff to it, so it's a lot more flowing than just like, you know, banging in verses and just rapping a chorus, like, you know, so it's a lot more melodic. So, and you have to try new things like that. Obviously jazz and rap has been done since the beginning of, like, you know, rap, like it's a thing. But I feel like definitely in a way it's always kind of been there, like, you know, like kind of jazz and rap, it's always not even been in the background, but it's been there. But in a way, like, you know, it's not been lost in a way, but I feel like yeah, it's kind of a certain way of doing it. There's a certain way of doing it, and it has to be right, and the time has to be right. And for me, I feel like the time for me to do that is now. And
is your sound going to become like suddenly experimental?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a lot. Everything I'm working on. I don't want to release too much about it, but the stuff I'm working on now, people, I wouldn't be worried. I'd be worried in a way that people are going to be kind of like, oh, that's not like, you know, it's not the James Shannon, like it's not James Shannon, but like it's very experimental at the moment, which is hard because it takes a lot more time to get used to it and to kind of get it down, get it done. But you have to be like that, you know, you can't stick doing the same thing. And that's why I feel like with that, we mentioned about the whole drill thing, that's why I feel like that can simmer out in a way, because like, it's unoriginal. So, like, gets unoriginal.
The aim of a lot of drill artists, I know for a fact, is, or at least a lot of people influenced by drill, it's not to become like something new. It's about fitting into as well. It's about fitting in with other Irish drill artists.
Exactly. But also I feel like it's hard in that way to, like, if you're known as a drill rapper, like, you know, and if you get your buzz off that, then like I feel like maybe it will be hard in a way to kind of like move out of that and to, like, let's say a drill artist came out and made, like, you know, started like singing and all this, like, and I was like, yeah, it'd be different. Like, I feel like once you're boxed into that, like, you know, it will be a bit harder to kind of get out of that. But if you're like, just if you brand yourself as like a rapper or just an artist, like, you know, you have a bit more freedom to kind of like slowly move different ways with what you're doing. Like, you know, everything has to be constantly changing. So you know, you hear people talking about you have to stay up to date with what's going on now. In a way, that's true, because you have to be feeding into what's going on now to keep stuff fresh. But in a way, I think it's important to like kind of take your own inspiration, listen to what you're interested in, listen to what you enjoy, and because in a way, then you listen to this stuff and it becomes like what you're interested in, what you enjoy making, because then it's just more unique to yourself. So that's definitely what I do. The reason I'd listen to, like, my playlist is a bit of a mess at the moment. It's just like a bit of everything, like, and the reason that is because that's just music I enjoy, like, and I feel like that for every artist, like, that shows in what you make, if you get me. And I think that's, it's interesting, like, you know, it's interesting because, like, if you listen to a lot of big rappers at the moment, like a lot of big albums, like, you can you can see inspiration they've taken from very old like music, you know, and it's always being recycled. And I mentioned that before.
Take that glass off.
What are you doing?
I would say in regards to albums, too many acts have every track on their album sound the same.
Yeah.
Too many acts of all their songs in the EP sound the same.
Yeah, exactly.
With your upcoming work, are you going to be attempting such variety?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I have a lot of demos recorded at the moment. Like I have a lot of stuff I'm working on. And some of it I show my friends, and they're kind of like, "Whoa, like who's that? Who's that doing that chorus?" And I'm like, "That's me." And they're like, "What?" Like because it's just so out of like it's just very different at the moment. Like but I'm not releasing anything at the moment. I don't plan to release anything for a good while, but I'm definitely enjoying making music now than this time last year, because this time last year me making music, like I felt like I was being boxed into making music that just sounded the same every time, and I was getting this like people were saying like, why the lyric, every song is about the same thing, every song sounds the same, and I just wasn't enjoying it because I felt like there was no way I could break out of that. But now I definitely feel like I can literally, like, I'm at a state like it's so early in my career for this, like I can literally go any which way I want at the moment. And
in particular, what kind of subject matter was the
literally, like when I was making the tunes back then, it was kind of like, oh, I'm struggling at the bottom and I'm gonna make it out, like really typical, really fucking typical shit, like every day, every song, and every now and then I might come out, I might make like a love song or whatever, or this, like a song about like we live in a society or some shit that. You know what I mean? But I just wasn't enjoying it. It took a lot less time for me to kind of have to take a break then. But now I feel like every song I make, I want to try something different. And like even when you're trying something different like that, a lot of songs I'll show my friends like to get their opinion on it. That we like, oh, that's so cringy because it's just something so different that I'm like trying, and it's just out of character for me. But like for me, I'd be like, I appreciate the criticism, I really do, and I'll work on that. But like for me, if it sounds like really good, and I believe that's like how it's supposed to be, that's probably gonna stay like that. Yeah, no, definitely changing it up a bit. But obviously, when you're making these changes, it takes a bit more time to do. Like what I mean. So don't expect much from me for a long time. I'm gone for a while.
As we say in the industry, it's in the works.
It's in the works. That's right. Copyright Dara Mac. It's in the works.
Something is cooking. Something's cooking.
Boy.
Do you write all your lyrics down?
So I write them down. Oh yeah, I've got
on your phone, is it?
Oh right, like I'll come up with like ideas as I'm walking around, when I'm on the bus, this, that, and the other, like, and I'll write them down, and they're just kind of like a keep safe place. So if I'm really, really stuck, or if I have something and I know that's there, then I'm like, all right, this is definitely for this, and I'll be able to pull them out. But yeah, normally I'll kind of just work off what's coming to my head when I'm writing it, and then I'll pull those out, or I'll work off one of those completely from the start, like
Where do you think the Irish scene is going to go in the next while?
Where do I think the Irish scene is going to go? The dog's drinking my glass of water. That's hers now. I see the scene going. I feel like I'm someone who believes that music is obviously an ever-changing thing, but I feel like the way it's changing, there's always kind of stuff from the past thrown into the mix when as it's progressing. So at the moment, what I'm hearing in like kind of rap music in Ireland, it's going upwards.
Okay,
it's definitely going to get bigger, but in terms of sound, I still feel like in a way there's kind of a new sound being created for Ireland as a place on its own, but I still do feel like you're always going to have that kind of English and American influence thrown into the mix. I would never listen to drill stuff. Like it's cool, like you'd respect it, like if you want to do drill, sure, like do drill, like, but like honestly for me it's just kind of like there's so much that hasn't been done here that can be done, and I feel like it's just up to everyone to kind of do that and do their own sound instead of trying to be like the next whoever's big, like the next Stormzy or this, that, or the other, like know. As a whole, I can see Ireland getting bigger, but it needs to be more experimental. It needs to be.
What year did you start doing music in?
I was in the end of second year.
Okay.
And it was, trust me, I got
I'd say that was...
Yeah.
That was fucking intense, I'd say.
Yeah. Oh, well, I did kind of bring it on myself with the name I used to go by Slim Jim, which obviously brought a bit of heat. You know what I mean? You can imagine now, brought a bit of heat on that. But I know it was good all the same, and I'm glad I started when I did, to be honest. Like, definitely glad I started when I did, because like you learn more as you're coming along, and you just gain that respect a bit like a bit sooner, and people just kind of accept like, oh well, he's gonna, you know, he does what he does, you know what I mean, which is fair enough. Like, you know,
it's exactly it. I think if you want to do something that's outside the ordinary, if someone wants to do like dancing, say music, some weird art that no one else does, video production, the key to it is that like once you like start doing it openly, pretty soon it becomes like the norm, as in like everybody gets used to it. It just becomes normal after like about, I don't know, like 2 months.
Yeah, exactly. But you have to be prepared to take that like backlash at the start.
For a minute,
like,
yeah.
You know.
What would you give advice wise to
Yeah.
Ooh,
it's a good one.
To young people who want to become rappers?
Take your time. Yeah, be like, you know, be yourself. Don't try to be like, and that sounds so cliche again, but like you can't. Don't take influence from your influences, but don't be your influences, if you get me. Like, you know, I feel like that's a mistake a lot of people make. They just try to be like exactly what's out there already, you know. And definitely take your time. Don't just like write what you want, rap it, get it mixed or whatever if you're doing that, and then just throw it out. You know what I mean? Take your time writing your stuff. Make sure it's the right time and all this. Now, obviously, don't sit on it forever, but just make sure that you're making, you know, the right moves when it's necessary to do that. Because that's a mistake I made. Like, you know, for, I'd say, like, you know, 2.5 years, like I was just making a tune every weekend, like banging it out, and no one was listening to my tunes back then. Like, you know, no one was listening to those, and they're all pretty terrible. I think just before we started this, we were listening to some of my old shit, and it's quite terrible.
I know, like it's obviously like not production quality wise, it's bad, but like in terms of like actual composition or whatever and beats and all that, it's probably fine enough. You know? Yeah.
And yeah, that's another thing. Don't rob beats off YouTube. Okay. You know, depends. I used to do that. Don't rob beats off YouTube.
Why not?
Why not? Because like, you know, you can't put it on Spotify and all that, and you're just like, you know, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like,
what if you change the pitch?
Oh, that's I actually used to do that shit, you know.
Change the pitch and slightly fast forward it.
Yeah.
Do something like that.
Speed it up a bit. And it's gonna be corny though, imagine.
Don't do that though.
Yeah, don't do that, kids. Don't do that. If you're in it for the long haul, go for it. But if you're just like someone who's just like, oh yeah, I like rap music and this will get me a few follows or likes or whatever you want, like, you know, then don't do it, because you're just gonna get bullied for it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you start out, I don't know if it's like that nowadays, and it depends who you are, of course, but like when you're starting out, like it's never gonna be like, obviously it depends on who you are. Like you have people and they put out their first freestyle and it's like, go on, like, yeah, class. But like you get other people and they might put out their first stuff and it's a really rocky road from there. But if you know that you're in it for the long haul and that's what you want to do, then, you know, by all means go for it, like, you know. I feel like we're definitely running out of
We've
things
run out of things to talk about.
Say.
Either way, James, nice to have you on the podcast. Link your...
Great guy.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
We're not done plugging you.
Right.
Tell us what your Instagram is.
Instagram at James Shannon Music. Twitter at It's James00. Facebook, James Shannon. What else do we go? Yeah, YouTube, James Shannon. Spotify, James Shannon. SoundCloud, James Shannon. All that stuff. So check me out. Follow for follow.
Follow for follow.
Follow for follow.
Shout out for shout out.
Shout out for shout out.
Shift or pass and all that shit.
Oh man, they were the days.
Oh yeah, fucking nice having you on.
Thanks for having me, man. Have a good day. Have a good train home.
Have a good night. You know.
Peace.
Big questions.
I hate this question.
It's actually a question I've never asked you.
What was the first question? Was definitely if you look up.
So, can you stop playing with it?
I sound like such a wanker or whatever right now because I don't know what I'm saying. I do recommend you
turn that shit off. The dog drinking out of James's glass.
I didn't drink any water this whole thing.
We'll just cut this, yeah.
Probably, yeah.
We're gonna cut it, right?
Probably.